Welcome to Atlanta, jacking hammers and bows. Back to the mackin' and jacking the clothes. Adolescents packing the foes. A knock on the door. Who is it? I would happen to know, the one with the flow. Who did it? It was me, I suppose. Jay-Z.
And welcome everybody to another little quick podcast on the Atlanta Teen Sports Center, or the All Atlanta Sports Podcast, whatever you prefer to call us. And yes, school has started back for us. Wow, we are back home doing this later, so there won't be as many podcasts during the week, guys. We apologize. We're just with school and other activities. We don't know if we'll be able to get into it as much, but stick around. We'll have as much content as we can. But this is another Braves episode. So Connor, how are your thoughts on how the Braves performed in the Pittsburgh series overall?
Well, the way that series ended with Pittsburgh yesterday, of course, they had Freddie Freeman or Swanson had a home run. Swanson had a home run to begin with in the first inning before Julio Teheran came out when the Braves had a 2-0 lead in the bottom of the first inning. With Freddie Freeman with 2 home runs, I just think when they were leading 4-2, I thought, maybe we'll actually get our second win of the season here, and I hope we do. But the way Jim Johnson blew that save, tie it 4-4, and of course they got the run in the top of the 10th to make it 5-4, but then they not loaded the bases, but in the bottom of the 10th,
Starlin Marte with a walk-off bomb. So
yeah, with a 2-run shot after they got the double. So yeah.
And what are your keynotes to be? Because Atlanta has had some pretty good series down in Miami early in the year. They usually come back up with 3 wins after an early April trip to Miami. So what are your notes to continue that going, and how Atlanta's going to have success against this hot Miami team right now?
Well, they're going to have to play with dignity and play their own ball and make sure that they can do what they're capable of doing, and hopefully they don't let back on doing that. I don't know if Brian Snicker is talking to them today, the off day and everything, when they're traveling down to Miami, taking over a rest, that they regroup and are able to face the Marlins.
And who do you think the key factor will be for the Marlins this series for them to be able to get the wins against the Braves? I know you might say Jose Fernandez, but yeah, I'm sorry you can't say him.
Yeah,
sadly.
Like a pitcher or something?
You can say anybody.
Oh, okay.
I was just saying a weird way of saying bye to Jose.
Probably Derek Dietrich would be one of mine because he's really good at he's a really fast player, so he can quickly, even if it's playing with a shallow ball, he can hop on base quickly, and he has the power in the ball, so that might be the guy to look out for in this series coming up here.
And with the Braves minor league teams just getting their seasons underway, how do you think they perform lately? Starting with the Rome Braves, starting out 4-0, but with their winning streak and undefeated season on the line tonight, playing 0-4 Kannapolis, as the Rome Braves trail 5-0 in the bottom of the 8th. What are your thoughts on how they winning the championship in Class A last year, coming back and starting another hot season? So do you think this looks like another good season coming up for the Rome Braves?
Well, I think they have a lot to improve on. Of course, more players can sit down who are struggling, doubling Mississippi, and I just think personally that I think personally, and I think you might think this too, that of course they won the championship, technically the World Series, so to speak, in their division or the single A, but I just think that they might not be as the same as they were. I think they'll be a really good team. I don't think they'll be reaching back to that point, though.
Moving on to Gwinnett. Gwinnett, who also went with a poor record last year, made it to slipped into the playoffs and made it to the finals, losing in the final round by a sweep. And facing the 1-4 Gwinnett Braves, lost today to the now 1-4 Norfolk something. So I guess they're the Seahorses or something, because that's their logo. But they lost 3-0 today after a 7.5 scoreless innings, with 1 inning coming from the Norfolk with 3 runs. So when that season doesn't look so hot, and this doesn't look very good for Atlanta with having their AAA affiliate right there and being able to have a taxi literally take them back and forth?
Well, I think everyone's kind of shocked about how they had such a stellar year last year, one of the best so-called minor league systems in the major leagues, and I just think, I hope that they can improve just like in the major leagues the Atlanta Braves can improve on is throughout the season. Maybe they can improve and maybe try to be a playoff contender, but not a very good start for either of these two teams, Atlanta or Gwinnett, but I guess Rome is having a pretty decent year. I don't know what's happening in Mississippi right now, but I think the Gwinnett Braves, I think they have a lot of potential, and I think they'll have some major league players sit down. I think they'll sit down Anthony Rucker again. Mm-hmm. He's not doing too well in the major leagues. He pinched hit, I think, the other day against the Pirates. And it seemed like he just isn't ready for the major leagues like you said in other pockets. I just don't feel like he's really in tune to what's happening in the majors.
Moving on to the Mississippi Braves. They started the year 3-2 after a 7-4 win today, going up 5-0 after 6, and then having to close it out in a save situation. So it got a little bit scary up and down in Mississippi. And field trip day, which I saw on Instagram for all the schools, but an exciting game. So they started out the year 3-2 after they have lost some prospect up to AAA in the majors, like Albies and Swanson early from this year or from last year. So how do you think I can't speak right now. Words are hard. How do you think Mississippi is going to handle still being a AA contender and producing good prospects after having to build off a year like last year and losing prospects like Swanson and Albies?
Well, I think that's a major effect in Swanson and Albies, because Albies, I believe, is in AAA right now.
Yes.
So I just think that I think there'll be more players like Swanson in the near future. Of course, Single A and Rome, they're trying to kind of prospect more players, and I just think that there will be, hopefully the next few years, there will be more players coming up and hopefully going fast through the minors to get to the majors.
Moving on to our last minor league team of the day, the Class A advanced Florida Fire Frogs, one of the only out-of-state teams for the Braves other than the Hillcats and the Danville Braves. But the Florida Fire Frogs also starting at the year 3-2 with a shutout win today over the Dundon Blue Jays. Dundon, something like that. I can't pronounce minor league teams that well, guys, so sorry about that. So, do you think this will be an important role in the advanced class teams moving up in the minors, or do you think they'll be more focused on Mississippi, Rome, and Gwinnett? What are your thoughts, Connor?
I think they're more focused on Rome, Mississippi, and Gwinnett, because I haven't heard much about the other teams. I just heard more about the three Braves minor league teams and how they're trying to get players quickly through the minor league system so they're ready. That's where the prospects come in that the Braves try to find through that kind of thing through college and the MLB draft, and they send them down quickly. And hopefully not trying to do it too fast because they want young pitchers and young talent to try to win the World Series and here in the next few years, or at least make a big playoff run.
And I heard this joke from Ryan the other day. He said by the time the Braves are rebuilding, all their prospects up in the major leagues now will be old. How do you think the Braves, if this ever became a problem, how do you think the Braves are going to be able to rebuild this faster and get people more back on their side than think of an NBA team rebuilding in 2 or 3 years when MLB teams take 5, 6? How are the Braves able to shorten that and make it a contender in shorter time?
Well, the Kansas City Royals had a similar idea a few years ago, back when they won the World Series a few years ago in 2015, and it's just like the defense, which pitching wins the World Series, and that's what they did. They didn't focus so much on offense necessarily; they focused on pitching and young talent, and of course they got some veterans like the Braves are doing as well, but they're more focused on young talent and what the youngsters have in store for the team.
Do you still think they're a wild card team after what you've seen to start the year?
Well, I'm not exactly sure. I think it's too early to tell. If we see kind of a shine moment in the team, the season will probably be around mid-season, like when they kind of have like a big long run at wins or something, or kind of start to play well again. It's really too early to tell, and I don't want to jump down to any conclusions. But they're either gonna barely make the wild card or just not make the playoffs at all.
And you heard it there. I mean, Atlanta has come from a 2013 contender to 2017 and their third trash can year, it seems to be, to almost being able to contend again. So Atlanta has done this rebuild good, and they've really made some steps this off season. But, I mean, sports fans, as said from 92.9 The Game, are too wanting and can't wait for a championship, especially during rebuilding times. So, with the new coaching change and from last year and new prospects rolling in, and hopefully the Braves can draft well, this team should be back right on track by hopefully 2019 or 2018. That would even be better. But Connor, thank you for joining. We just want to say these shows might be shorter in the weekdays. I mean, we'll either try to do a long show once or twice a week or a little bit more, or we'll have about the same amount of shows, but they'll be shorter. So thank you guys for sticking around, and thank you for our first follower out there, Liam from school. So I'll see you guys next time, and go A-Town.